Hi there folks, and welcome back to Mossy Roots Farm. So in a previous video I talked about farming and double-edged broadswords. Now we're going to discuss that a little bit further. And you might go, well, this is getting boring. I don't want to hear the same thing over and over and over again. Well, this is different. We're going to talk about a commenter that I had on one of my YouTube videos. They had said that there are times where you need to bale graze and times where you need to bale unroll. And I 100% agree with that. The reason I bale graze, and I've said it in other videos, I don't have enough land. If I was like some of these big time farmers that had hundreds of acres or thousands of acres, I would totally do things differently and may consider bale unrolling. But the problem is that all the round bales I need for the winter fit into one of my subdivision pastures. I only have 10 total, let's say. Well, if I take out one of those, that's 1/10 of my land gone for bale grazing. And in previous videos during the spring, summer, you have seen, and you can still see here, the big dirt patches where grass never grew back. That's a problem, you know, and I agree. But if I did that and spread this out, this and this section would all look like that. So for me currently, this is the best strategy. Pack these bales in tight, pack these cows in tight, and get them grazing in here and only destroy one pasture. Now, ideally, I would have this pasture not be on a hillside. I'd have a nice flat land to do this, but most of my farm is on a hill, so what do? Can't change the way the land sits. You know, I can't change how these cows work. Obviously here, they have decided to eat underneath of the fence, which is absolutely obnoxious, but it is my cows. But I just wanted to discuss this a little more. You know, I don't have the abilities that these big time farmers have. That's a big problem I'm facing, is that, and nothing against the big guys, they obviously got where they are because of the stuff they did, whether good, bad, or ugly. They got where they are because of what they did. But my point is that it's going to take me a lot longer to get to that point. You know, I'm starting out with 20 acres. You know, I had a neighbor tell me I need about 10 more acres, and I 100% agree. I could use about 10 more acres. But for me to get 10 more acres, which would be, for me to get 10 more acres, that would be adding basically 50% to my farm, which these big time guys adding 50% is ludicrous, right? You know, oh, I have 600 acres, I need to add 300 more. That's ludicrous. I'm never going to be able to do that, afford that, whatever the commenting may be. But for me, it's a little easier. So in that regard, it is easier to move by 50% or 100% because the neighbor's property over there, their pasture is, I believe, about 10 acres. So I could basically, you know, increase my farm by 50% if I were to purchase it, graze it, you know, whatever you want to say. But I also have other downsides. So that's the only upside. My downsides are, like I said, I need so much ground to feed the cows. Now, in previous videos, I have stated that I only need so much ground because I have so few and several cows. If I were to have half the cows, I wouldn't need half the round bales. So obviously that makes sense, right? But what I'm saying with that is that I can't make the money with half the cows. You know, if I were to take my herd and cut them in half, you know, I'm only making, how many am I selling? 4 or 5 a year? You know, I'm only making $4,000 to $8,000 a year, let's just say, on average, you know. Well, if I do that and cut it in half, now I'm only making $2,000 or $3,000. Well, you got less hay requirements. Yeah, but the fence still costs the same, whether I have 5 cows or 1,000 cows, you know, in this section, let's just say. I know technically I would need more ground because I would have to make sure that I have more, you know, land and all that fun jazz, but that's my point is that it's a lot harder for me to do some of these things. So, yes, I 100% agree. Will you zip it? I 100% agree. I don't like what this is doing to the land. I don't like what this is doing to this section. I haven't been able to graze this section in 2 years because of it. Now there are patches like this that looks really awesome. So I did graze it for a day or two, but It did not have near the production that this ground had. But that is my point, is that I struggle with different things than big time farmers do. So again, yes, I don't want to do this, but for me to do this correctly, for me to do it like Greg Judy, for me to do it like Steve Kenyon, or the guys that graze in the Chihuahua Desert, for me to do that, I would need their land. You know, if you look at the per head number of cows per acre, they have way more acres than I do. You know, Greg Judy says that he grazes about 600 acres, I think, somewhere in there in a past video, and he has about 300 cows. Currently, I'm grazing 5 acres, and I have, well, heck, if you count the babies, I probably have 15 cows. So see, to have the same ratio of animals to grazing acres, I have to reduce the herd by a lot. But if I reduce the herd by a lot, then I will end up with other problems like not being able to afford feed, not being able to do other things, because the more you have, the more you can sell, the better your dollar cost averaging can be. That's why McDonald's can get their burgers for pennies on the pound, and you and I have to buy it in the store for $4 a pound for garbage meat, which also means I need to raise my price because this stuff is really good. But so anyways, guys, I hope this wasn't too boring as well. I find a lot of this inspiration out in the world today, and I want to call myself an activist of some sorts, but in a good way, a cow activist maybe. You know, I want to get people who aren't as familiar with my topics and get them more familiar with my topics. Yeah, that sounds really dumb, I'm sure. But hey, that's how you know I'm honest, because I don't have some script in front of me. I got a stinking ring for a insulator that I need to put on, but I need 2 hands. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.